Yes, Sheriff Rosie Rivera, Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office. I just left the hospital with our two deputies. One deputy is going to be released soon in stable condition. He was shot in the face. And our other deputy is going to remain in the hospital in critical condition, but stable. He was shot in the eye. Right now, we just ask for our community to pray for our deputies and all of our Sheriff's Office family. This is a tough time. We do know that our deputies were doing proactive patrol this morning. They encountered an individual just on the grassy island north of the parking lot of the Sheriff's Office building. We're not quite sure what happened with the encounter, but we do know that shots were fired, and the individual that was involved is deceased. He's approximately 30 years old. That's just a guess because we don't know who he is yet. The protocol team is trying to identify him, but as of right now, we're not sure. He does look like he's possibly Hispanic, but that's not been confirmed, or the age. We don't know what he was doing here on our grounds. We are speculating that he might be transit, and the deputies were just going up to him to, check on him, and then something occurred. Right now, the protocol team is just finishing up with the scene. The investigation will continue for quite some time, and they're interviewing a lot of people. There were quite a few witnesses, and they're taking care of that as well. So right now, that we have not released the two deputies' names. Most of the family has been notified, but we do have one deputy that his immediate family has not been notified. They weren't able to locate them yet, so we won't be releasing their names until later once we get that confirmation.
When you're talking about proactive patrol, explain a little bit more about that. That this, that they were just going up trying to see if somebody was okay. It wasn't, a call for service. It wasn't, they were responding to something. This was literally just them happening upon something.
Yes, it happened very quickly. We have what's called our insert team. They do campus patrol for us, and what that requires them to do is to drive around the campus and make sure things are secure, and also to render aid if anybody needs aid. This individual, it appears, may have been on the grass. We don't know if he was asleep or not, but something occurred to get their attention to go talk with him, and then it happened very quickly where there was an encounter and shots were fired.
Sheriff, do you know if the man was armed, or did he get one of the deputies' weapons? Do you know that?
The individual was armed. It was not did not take a deputy's firearm. He had his own firearm. We are confident in that, and that's what I want to make very, very clear is he had a firearm. The individual who is deceased. And he did shoot at our deputies, and our deputies shot back.
Did the deputies, the two who were injured, Sheriff, did they shoot back at this man, or was it other deputies in the area?
What I can tell you is there was a gunfire exchange. At this time, because it's under investigation, I don't know which deputy shot or both, but there was an exchange between the deputies and the individual.
But it wasn't any outside deputies aside from the two that were...
Not that we are aware of, and it has not been brought to my attention.
Could you tell us how many shots were fired?
We don't know that until the investigation is complete. That's
Sure.
part of the investigation.
Yeah.
Was Lifeline ever called for one of the officers or the suspect? I know that call went out initially, but I wasn't sure if it ever came.
I don't know if they came here. I do know they were transported very quickly to the hospital.
What hospital they at?
I wouldn't tell you that right now because we don't want our deputies overwhelmed right now.
Can you just talk about the deputies being released? You say he was shot in the face, but he's going to be—that's pretty miraculous. He's getting to go home.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that he is able to go home, and yes, he has a bullet that did graze right through his cheek and out. I mean, there's quite a bit of damage on his face, but he's coherent. I can tell you mentally, it's tough on both of them.
Yeah.
And they have a lot to go through, and a lot of other deputies too, you know, all the responding and everyone that cares for them. So what we've done is we've called our peer support teams out, and our chaplain is out. We have a lot of procedures in place for this type of incident to help our sheriff's office family. You know, we just ask that the community understand why we can't release too much information. It really is the protocols team responsibility to go out and make sure the investigation is complete, and we would never want to compromise that for them. But I felt it was important that our community know that the deputies are going to be okay. They have a long time to heal, and you know, it's a struggle. We're just fortunate that they weren't killed.
So is the prognosis for the second deputy, as you mentioned, a long road, he's going to make it?
We do believe that he is going to survive. The last update I received that he is going to be going in for surgery. Like I said, he was shot in the eye. So
When it comes to these type of incidents for you, leading a department, how do you know, steer the ship during a time like this? You mentioned that the sheriff's office is a strong family. As the head of that family, how do you comfort and support your officers right now and really continue the good work that you do?
well, what we do is we make sure all of our command responds, and we make sure that we stay calm for everyone, because they go off of what my reactions. And if I can stay calm, everybody else tends to be, and that's something I've learned being in a leadership position for a long time. And our community stays calm as well. You know, we'll always survive, but sometimes getting there is tough, and we have a long road for that. You know, this is shocking to our community, to South Salt Lake's community, and everybody that has anything to do with our jail. Our deputies typically work in the jail, you know, or do campus security. The odds of them getting involved in an officer-involved shooting is slim, and so it was shocking to hear. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be okay, and our employees will be okay. But we do stick together, and I always talk about the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office family because we are truly that. I do want to say, though, I've had multiple police agencies reach out to me and offer assistance and offer comfort and offer their prayers. You know, even from the governor's office, the mayor's office, and several law enforcement all over the state of Utah and outside of the state of Utah. So this law enforcement sticks together in these type of things, and it, you know, it's tragic, but we'll be okay, and it could have been a lot worse.
Sheriff, you know if any of the deputies had body camera footage on, or is there any surveillance video in the area?
We do have surveillance video, and the protocol team has that. That won't be released until the protocol team's investigation is over, and it will be reviewed by the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office. But our deputies that work in the jail do not wear body cameras. We have our campus that has cameras, and we also have 24-hour surveillance in the jail. So, you know, having body cameras typically in the jail, it wouldn't be cost effective when that's being recorded anyway.
Sheriff, I know you can't give us much of the names of the deputies, but can you tell us a little bit about them? How long have they been serving our community? Do they have families and children?
I can share a little bit, other than, you know, I don't want to give too much right now because, like I said, notifications haven't been completed. I can tell you they're both great individuals, and they're strong, and they were partners, and they care about each other, and they are in good spirits. And I think the way that they have responded has helped everybody else respond as well.
How, obviously this is a very rare occurrence for the sheriff's office, but how many other instances like this have happened in recent history? You can somewhat recall some of these statistics.
Well, it's been many, many years when a sheriff's deputy has been killed in the line of duty. And typically it's those who are working on the law enforcement side doing actual law enforcement patrols. So that typically doesn't occur in a corrections facility like our jail. But Deputy Mike Welker was killed in 1993. And that was the last deputy that was killed in the line of duty.
Do you know those shots that were fired, was that at point blank range? Do we know how far away that was?
I couldn't give you that information right now. That's part of the investigation.
And then, Sheriff, we noticed that not just the 3300 South is closed. Are you also closed? Is the whole complex on lockdown? I saw that there's deputies all along every entrance.
Yes, we announced this morning that the jail will remain on lockdown until the scene is, they're finished with the scene. We just don't want anybody in the area coming and going through the parking lot. And for the most part, the jail parking lot is secure, but there's a lot of people that try to get in and just to look and see what's going on. So we'll keep that lockdowns and the campus secure for now.
Sheriff, do you know if the suspect had any connection to the jail at all? It just seems strange he would be here.
At this time, we don't know who the suspect is or what he was
yeah.
doing here, so I
Okay.
can't answer that for you.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on what makes you believe he might be transient?
Just because there's some items there that were with him that looked like he may have been a transient.
Have you identified the suspect and not released the name, or are you still trying to identify him?
We have not identified him, and that's why I said, just from afar, he does appear to be Hispanic and maybe around 30, 35 years old, but I can't, there's no way of knowing until we actually get an identification on him. So at this time, we don't know. The investigators will do that. That's part of their job. They have a lot of different, procedures that they go through to try to identify someone. So, and at the end of the day, it may turn out that, you have to run the fingerprints or something. But right now, that's what the investigations team will be working on, is making identification and then trying to figure out what actually happened here today.
How long do you expect to be here for?
It's my understanding that the medical examiner has just arrived, and that once they are completed with what they need to do, the road will be reopened probably in about an hour, hour and a half, if not sooner.
We asked this, I think, in the first press conference, but when it comes to this happening in a place where a deputy goes when they're off duty, when a unified police officer goes when they're off duty, as a place to kind of rest and recover from the shift, for this to happen, I think, as Alex said it earlier, for this to happen in your house, basically, what does that mean to deputies? What does that mean to officers?
Well, it takes a toll on everybody, and they don't usually come here when they're off duty, but what they do is they come here when they're on duty. This is our working place. This is our working home, and it hit close to home. And, that's why we have campus security. And I'm just glad it didn't happen yesterday when we had a lot of employees here, because we don't know who this individual is. We don't know what their intent was. And that hopefully with the investigation they'll be able to figure that out. But we'll be working with our employees to make sure that they are well taken care of, and you'll see our security increased. I can't say that there's a lot that we would change, but that's what we do, is we take a look at every incident that occurs, especially a critical incident, and we learn and we make changes as we go. But for now, it was just a random incident that they went to check on him, and it turned into a shooting.
And these are sworn deputies. These aren't
Yes.
security guards.
Nope, they are sworn deputies. MCERT is similar to a SWAT team, so they're just the team that's in the jail. But we do ask them to do our campus security as well.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Okay, thank you.